Silence is a strategy, not a weakness. In a world that celebrates noise, this truth is often forgotten. We live in an age where everyone feels the need to announce every single achievement, every thought, and every move. We share our meals before we eat them, our plans before we live them, and our dreams before we even begin working on them. But if you look closely, the most powerful people, the most successful individuals, and the most peaceful souls, they all have one thing in common. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in his field. Does he go around shouting, "Look everyone, I just planted seeds! Watch me water them tomorrow"? Of course not. He works quietly, nurturing the soil, protecting the seeds, and waiting patiently for the harvest. His silence is not because he is unsure, it's because he is focused. And one day, when golden crops wave in the sunlight, the world notices. The silence that once seemed ordinary becomes the reason for his extraordinary success. Silence is not about being inactive. It is about being intentional. There is a deep strength in the person who can stay calm when provoked, quiet when others shout, and composed when chaos surrounds them. When you move in silence, you conserve energy that most people waste defending their choices, explaining their plans, or proving their worth. The more you talk, the more you invite opinions. And the more opinions you collect, the less clarity you keep. Think about this. When you are baking a cake, you don't keep opening the oven every 2 minutes to show people how it's rising. If you do, it will never bake properly. The heat escapes and the process breaks. Dreams work the same way. When you keep exposing your plans before they're ready, you let the outside world's opinions cool down the fire that's meant to make you rise. So, stay silent while you're baking your success. Let it rise. Let it form. Let it surprise everyone when the aroma fills the room. In daily life, silence can be your greatest tool. Let's say someone criticizes you at work. The normal reaction is to argue, defend, or prove your side, but silence in that moment speaks louder. When you don't react emotionally, you show strength. When you don't explain yourself to people who don't even want to understand, you keep your peace. Silence disarms negativity. It frustrates gossipers because you don't feed their curiosity. It confuses critics because you don't play their game. Most importantly, it protects your dignity. There's a saying, never waste words on people who deserve your silence. That silence is not pride, it's wisdom. You begin to realize that your time, your energy, your emotions, they are sacred. Not everyone deserves access to them. Just as you wouldn't hand your house keys to every stranger, why hand your peace to every opinion? We often confuse being loud with being strong, but the opposite is true. The strongest trees don't make noise when they grow. The deepest rivers flow silently. The brightest stars shine without shouting. There is power in stillness. It's in that stillness that focus grows, creativity awakens, and strength multiplies. When you are quiet, you can hear not the noise of the world, but the whisper of your inner voice guiding you forward. One of the greatest examples is from the life of Mahatma Gandhi. When faced with injustice, he didn't respond with loud anger. He responded with calm resistance, silent strength. His silence carried more power than the noise of armies, because silence doesn't mean surrender, it means control. It means you have mastered the urge to react and chosen instead to act with purpose. In our personal lives, too, silence can transform relationships. Imagine a heated argument with a loved one. Sometimes, instead of shouting back, staying silent and listening is the most powerful thing you can do. Silence allows emotions to settle. It opens space for understanding. Words spoken in anger can wound deeply, but silence spoken with love can heal even deeper. Think of successful entrepreneurs. Most of them don't reveal their ideas until they are ready to launch. Why? Because they understand the value of secrecy and timing. They know that premature exposure invites competition, confusion, and criticism. But when their product is complete, they let the result speak. And it speaks loudly. Apple never talks much before launching a new product. They simply unveil it, and the world listens. That's the beauty of silence. When you finally speak, your voice echoes with power. Even in spirituality, silence holds immense value. Every meditation practice begins with stillness, because only in silence can you hear the truth within you. Noise is a distraction, silence is direction. The more silent you become, the more you begin to understand yourself, your fears, your hopes, your potential. And once you understand yourself, no outside noise can shake you. Sometimes silence is your shield, not because you're afraid to speak, but because you are wise enough to know that not every battle needs a response. When people misunderstand you, when rumors spread, when your efforts go unnoticed, keep going quietly. The world may not see your roots, but one day they'll see your fruits. Let them wonder how you grew so tall while they were busy talking. When you move in silence, your success becomes your statement. You don't have to explain it, people will feel it. You don't have to prove it, your results will prove it for you. Silence, therefore, is not a weakness. It's your superpower. It keeps you grounded, focused, and mysterious. And mystery, my friends, is magnetic. People will be drawn to your calm, your depth, and your unshakable energy. So the next time you feel the urge to announce your next move, pause. Let your silence do the talking. Let your results do the explaining. Because when you rise quietly, you rise powerfully. And when your success finally speaks, it will echo so loudly that the whole world will listen in silence. Protect your dreams from unnecessary exposure. This simple line holds deep wisdom, because not every listener deserves to hear your dreams, and not every environment is safe enough for your ideas to grow. Your dreams are like delicate seeds. They need protection, nourishment, and the right timing before they can face the world. When you expose them too early, before they've taken root, they can easily be crushed by criticism, jealousy, or misunderstanding. That's why wise people don't announce everything they are working on. They protect their dreams like a sacred secret until they are strong enough to stand on their own. Think about a pregnant mother. For the first few months, she doesn't talk much about the life growing inside her. She eats carefully, rests, and protects her body. She understands that the early stage is fragile and must be nurtured in silence. Her excitement is real, but her priority is safety, not attention. In the same way, your dreams need that quiet protection. When they are new, they are sensitive and easily influenced. A careless comment, a discouraging friend, or a mocking laugh can damage your motivation. Protect them until they are ready to be seen. And once they're born strong, the world will naturally admire them. In daily life, you might have noticed this the moment you share a big goal. Suddenly, everyone becomes an expert. Some will say, "That's impossible." Others will laugh and say, "You, really?" A few might even try to copy you or compete with you. Not because they're bad, but because human nature often doubts what it doesn't understand. You see, when you tell people your vision, they see it from their level of understanding, not yours. They measure your dream with their limitations. And in doing so, they unintentionally weaken your confidence. That's why protecting your dream is not selfish, it's wise. There's a beautiful example in nature. When a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, it hides inside a cocoon. No one sees what's happening. From the outside, it looks like nothing. But inside, a complete transformation is taking place, quietly, patiently, powerfully. If someone were to cut open the cocoon too early, trying to help, the butterfly would die. It wouldn't be ready to fly. The cocoon stage is sacred. It's the protection needed for transformation. In the same way, your silent phase, your hard work in the shadows, is what prepares you to soar. Don't rush to show your wings before they're ready. Protecting your dreams also means protecting your energy. Every time you talk too much about your goals, you release a part of that energy. You feel good in the moment, the applause, the excitement, but that's temporary satisfaction. The real satisfaction comes when your dream is accomplished. So instead of seeking early validation, seek early discipline. Keep your plans to yourself, write them down, work on them quietly, and let the results speak. Remember, attention is cheap, but achievement is valuable. Never trade your focus for fleeting approval. Let's look at a practical daily example. Imagine you're planning to start a business. You tell 10 people about your idea. 3 will say it's too risky. 2 will try to copy it. And the rest will say, "Let's see if it works." Their words start living in your head rent free. You begin doubting yourself. You lose momentum. But imagine if you had kept that plan private, worked silently for 6 months, and then launched your business, strong, stable, and ready. Now the same people will ask, "How did you do it?" That's the power of protection. Silence protects your focus from being stolen by other people's opinions. Even in relationships, not every detail needs to be shared with everyone. Sometimes the best way to keep peace is to keep privacy. When you tell too many people about your personal plans, they start adding their perspectives, judgments, and assumptions. Suddenly, your simple plan becomes complicated. Protect your peace by limiting access. People cannot harm what they do not know. In the same way, protect your dreams from unnecessary eyes and unnecessary words. There's a wise saying, "A candle that burns quietly lasts longer." Your dream is that candle. When you protect its flame, it glows brighter and steadier. But when you expose it to too much wind, even wind that comes as advice or curiosity, it flickers. The world is noisy, full of opinions, and not everyone wants to see you succeed. Some people want to know your plans, not to support you, but to measure your progress or doubt your potential. The fewer people who know, the freer you are to move without interference. Think about great inventors, artists, and leaders. They all had moments when they were misunderstood. Thomas Edison, didn't go around explaining his every experiment. He simply worked. The Wright brothers didn't announce that they were building a flying machine to everyone in town. They failed in private until they succeeded in public. Every breakthrough in history was once a quiet project, hidden from the noise until the time was right. The same principle applies to you. Protect your dream until it's too real to be denied. Even spiritually, protecting your dreams is powerful. There's something sacred about privacy when you and your Creator are the only ones who know what you're building. It's a space of trust and faith. You whisper your goals in prayer, not in public. You work with sincerity, not for show. And that quiet intention carries divine energy. The universe listens to what's whispered, not what's shouted. When your actions align with that inner silence, miracles happen quietly. So, the next time you feel the urge to share your next big move, take a breath and smile. You don't owe explanations. You don't need early applause. Your dream is your responsibility, not everyone's entertainment. Protect it like a flame on a windy night. Shield it from unnecessary opinions. Nurture it with effort and patience. Because when it's time, when your dream finally unfolds in full color, you won't have to explain a thing. People will see it, feel it, and be inspired by it. They'll realize that while they were talking, you were transforming. While they were doubting, you were building. And while they were asking, what's next? You were silently creating your destiny. That is the beauty and strength of protecting your dreams from unnecessary exposure. Jealous eyes can't hit what they can't see. This line may sound poetic, but it carries a truth that can protect your peace, your progress, and your purpose. In life, not everyone who smiles at you wants you to succeed. Not everyone who listens to your dreams wants to see them come true. Some people will clap for you publicly, but secretly hope for your failure. It's not because they are evil. It's because jealousy is part of human nature. It appears when someone sees in you what they wish they had in themselves. That's why the best way to stay peaceful and focused is to keep certain things unseen. When you move quietly, you stay out of reach of envy and negativity. Think about this: when an archer wants to hit a target, they first have to see it. Without sight, even the best archer can't aim. Similarly, when people don't know your plans, they can't aim their jealousy or negativity toward them. The less they know, the safer your progress remains. You are not hiding because you're afraid. You're protecting your energy from being drained by unnecessary attention. The truth is, the more people know about your life, the more they start forming opinions, judgments, and comparisons. And comparison is the root of jealousy. When people can't see your next step, they can't interfere with your journey. In daily life, we often see this pattern. You get a new job, a promotion, or start something new, and suddenly people around you begin behaving differently. They might start giving unsolicited advice, making sarcastic remarks, or downplaying your achievement. Oh, that's nice, but are you sure it'll last? Or, you got lucky? These small comments can plant seeds of doubt in your mind, and slowly, instead of celebrating your progress, you start questioning yourself. But if you had chosen to move quietly, their words would have never had a chance to enter your space. Think of a young student preparing for exams. One keeps telling everyone how many hours they're studying and what grades they expect. The other keeps quiet, studies in silence, and shows up on exam day ready. When results are out, the silent one often surprises everyone, including those who doubted them. The difference: one invited pressure and distraction by sharing too much, the other protected their focus by staying invisible. The lesson is simple: your results make a louder statement when your process is private. Jealousy is not always loud or visible. Sometimes it hides behind compliments. Wow, you're doing so well. I wish I had your luck. On the surface, it sounds kind. But notice the word luck. They subtly remove your effort and reduce your success to chance. That's how jealousy works. It doesn't always attack. Sometimes it disguises itself as praise. When you keep your growth private, you prevent these subtle forms of negativity from touching your mindset. Your dreams stay pure because they're not being constantly exposed to mixed energies. There's an old story about a fisherman. He caught a beautiful fish but didn't shout about it. Instead, he quietly took it home and cooked it for his family. His neighbor, curious and jealous, asked, "Why didn't you tell anyone? You could have shown it off." The fisherman smiled and said, "Because if I had, half the village would have come asking for a piece." That's life. The more you show, the more people want to take, not out of need, but out of envy. So protect your blessings by keeping them private until they've fully served their purpose. Even in the digital age, this wisdom is more relevant than ever. We post everything online: our plans, our possessions, our emotions. But remember, every time you share your joy, it reaches not only those who love you, but also those who secretly resent you. Some people don't pray for your success, they prey on it. They watch, compare, and wish they were in your position. The more visible you become, the more opinions you attract. And sometimes those opinions carry energy that can subtly affect your motivation. That's why silence isn't secrecy, it's self-care. It's a shield that guards your goals from unnecessary eyes. Let's take a real-world example. When a company is developing a new product, they don't announce every step of the process. They work behind closed doors, test quietly, and only reveal it when it's ready. Why? Because competition, criticism, and even sabotage exist. If they expose their plans too early, someone might copy them or destroy their strategy. You must treat your personal life the same way. Protect your progress like a precious project. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your journey. In spiritual wisdom, there's a concept of the evil eye. It's not just superstition. It represents negative energy directed toward you when others envy your happiness. The idea isn't about fear, but awareness. It teaches that too much exposure can invite unseen negativity. When you keep certain aspects of your life private, your relationships, finances, goals, you are not being mysterious, you are being wise. You're simply acknowledging that energy is real and it flows both ways. Think of the moon. When it's new, it hides in darkness. Slowly it grows. No one notices much at first. But one night, it shines in full glory, and the whole world looks up in admiration. The moon never rushes to be seen. It allows its light to develop quietly. In the same way, let your growth happen privately. You don't need to prove your brightness before it's time. When you're ready, the world will notice your light. So, in your life, be mindful of who you share your victories and visions with. Not every friend is a cheerleader. Some listen only to measure their own worth. Some celebrate your success today, but compare with you tomorrow. That's why peace lives in privacy. Let the people wonder what you're up to. Let them question how you keep growing. Let them stay curious, because that curiosity is your protection. Remember this truth deeply. Jealous eyes can't hit what they can see. Move quietly, grow privately, and let your success appear suddenly, beautifully, and undeniably. When people see the final result, they'll think it happened overnight, but you'll know it was years of quiet work. That's the sweetest victory, success that speaks while envy stays silent. True confidence doesn't need to announce itself. It simply exists, calm, steady, and unshakable. You can always recognize truly confident people by the peace they carry within them. They don't need to prove, perform, or persuade anyone of their worth. They don't walk into a room trying to be the loudest voice or the center of attention because they already know who they are. Their presence speaks louder than their words. Confidence isn't about showing off, it's about showing up silently, gracefully, and consistently. When someone truly knows their value, they don't chase validation from others. They don't need applause to keep moving. Their motivation comes from within. It's like a mountain, stable and unmoved by storms. You can shout at a mountain, insult it, or praise it. It remains still. That's what inner confidence looks like. Strength without noise. You don't need to keep telling people what you can do. You simply do it. The results will speak for themselves. Let's look at a simple example from daily life. Imagine two students preparing for an exam. One keeps telling everyone, "I'm going to top the class. I'm studying all night." The other says nothing, quietly focusing, reading, practicing, and improving. When results come, the quiet one scores the highest. The first one spent energy talking, the second one spent energy working. True confidence works in silence because it doesn't need an audience. It doesn't demand recognition, it earns it. In today's world, people mistake loudness for confidence. They believe that the more they talk, the stronger they seem. But talk is cheap. Confidence is not measured by how much noise you make, but by how calm you remain when others doubt you. A confident person doesn't argue to be right. They prove themselves through action. They understand that opinions are temporary, but truth lasts. When you truly believe in your abilities, you don't waste time convincing others. You use that time to grow. Think of a lion in the jungle. It doesn't need to roar every minute to remind others it's the king. It walks slowly, confidently, with no hurry and no fear. The jungle already knows who rules. The lion doesn't chase attention. Attention naturally follows it. But insecure animals, like the hyena, make the most noise, laughing loudly, moving in groups, trying to appear strong. In life, people are the same. Those who are unsure of themselves often try to prove something. Those who are sure simply live it. There's another beautiful example in the workplace. You might have seen colleagues who constantly talk about their achievements. "I did this project. I closed this deal. I'm the reason this company is growing." But the ones who truly perform, the ones whose results speak volumes, rarely boast. They are focused on their next goal, not their last success. Because confidence doesn't dwell in the past, it looks ahead quietly. It doesn't shout, I can, it simply does. And people eventually notice. Confidence is also deeply tied to humility. The more confident you are, the less you feel the need to prove yourself superior. You understand that lifting others doesn't lower you. You can celebrate someone else's success without feeling threatened because you know your time will come too. Insecure people compete, confident people create. Insecure people talk, confident people act. And that difference changes everything. Sometimes people mistake arrogance for confidence. Arrogance says, I'm better than you. Confidence says, I know my worth and I respect yours too. Arrogance pushes people away. Confidence draws people in. Arrogance seeks attention. Confidence commands respect. You don't have to make others feel small to feel important. True strength comes from being secure in your identity without needing comparison. Even in relationships, confidence makes a world of difference. A confident person doesn't beg for attention or validation. They know that love cannot be forced and respect cannot be demanded. It must be earned through character and consistency. When you know your value, you stop chasing people who don't see it. You stop explaining yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Silence becomes your answer, and peace becomes your priority. Because you understand that losing peace for approval is too expensive a price. Confidence is also visible in how people handle failure. When you're truly confident, failure doesn't destroy you, it teaches you. You don't take it as an insult, you take it as information. You learn, adjust, and rise again because your belief isn't built on perfection, it's built on persistence. You know that your worth doesn't decrease when you fall, it grows when you rise again. Confident people don't avoid challenges, they welcome them because they trust their ability to adapt. Think about a musician performing on stage. If a string breaks, an insecure player panics. A confident one smiles, fixes it, and keeps playing. The audience remembers not the mistake, but the grace with which it was handled. That's what real confidence looks like. Grace under pressure. It's not about everything going perfectly. It's about staying composed when it doesn't. Confidence also allows you to listen more and speak less. When you are secure in yourself, you don't need to dominate conversations to feel relevant. You listen to understand, not to respond. You respect other perspectives because your identity isn't fragile, and in that calmness you gain wisdom. Because when you are not trying to prove, you are free to learn. The loudest person in the room rarely learns the most. It's usually the quiet one observing everything. In spiritual life, confidence comes from faith, the belief that you are guided, that you are capable, and that you are exactly where you need to be. When you trust the timing of your life, you stop competing and start growing. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with purpose. You stop worrying about who's ahead or behind because you know that your journey is unique. So let your silence speak of your strength. Let your calmness show your courage. Let your patience prove your power. You don't need to shout your worth. Your actions, your character, your peace will declare it for you. True confidence doesn't need to announce itself. It simply lives, breathes, and radiates from within. When you carry that energy, You don't chase opportunities, they find you. You don't demand respect, you earn it naturally. And you don't need to say, I can do it. The world will look at your results and whisper, they already did. Nature teaches us silent strength. The sun, the moon, the ocean, all of them carry lessons of power without noise. The sun doesn't announce that it's rising every morning. The moon doesn't shout to show its glow. The ocean doesn't make speeches about its depth. Yet, the whole world depends on their silent existence. They remind us that true greatness doesn't need to make noise. It simply shines, flows, and endures. That is how life wants us to live. To be strong without shouting, to be powerful without pride, to be impactful without needing to prove it. Every day when the sun rises, it brings light to billions of people. It warms the earth, feeds plants, gives energy, and creates life, all without asking for applause. It just does what it's meant to do. That's the beauty of silent consistency. The sun doesn't skip a day because no one clapped for it yesterday. It rises because that's its purpose. Imagine if we lived like that, doing our best not for praise, but because it's who we are. The sun teaches us that purpose is louder than attention. You don't need the world to see you to make a difference. You just need to keep showing up quietly, consistently, every single day. The moon, too, has its own wisdom. It waxes and wanes, sometimes full, sometimes hidden, yet it never loses its identity. It doesn't compete with the sun or complain about the darkness. It simply knows when to shine and when to rest. That's balance. In life, we will have our bright phases where everything feels clear and beautiful. And we'll also have our dark nights where we feel invisible or uncertain. But the moon reminds us that silence in those dark times doesn't mean weakness. It means you are growing, reflecting, and preparing to shine again. Just because people don't see your glow today doesn't mean it's gone. Sometimes silence is the phase before your next rise. And then there's the ocean, vast, deep, powerful, and calm on the surface. The ocean doesn't boast about its strength, yet it can hold ships, shape continents, and sustain life. Even when it rages in a storm, it eventually returns to peace. That's the mark of true strength, not in how loud you are in power, but in how calm you remain after chaos. In life, storms will come, criticism, failure, betrayal, disappointment. But like the ocean, if you have depth inside, no wave can break you. Silent strength means knowing that what's within you is greater than what's happening around you. Nature is full of examples of quiet greatness. A tree grows silently, inch by inch, for years before anyone notices. Its roots grow underground, hidden from view, gathering strength, while people above see nothing. But one day it stands tall, gives shade, and bears fruit. No one saw the roots grow, but they were the reason for the tree's stability. Your growth is the same. You may be working hard quietly without recognition. You may feel unseen or undervalued. But remember, the roots of greatness always grow in silence. When the time is right, the world will see the results. Don't rush to be visible. Be patient enough to become solid. Look around, and you'll see how everything that truly lasts moves silently. The earth rotates without a sound, yet its motion sustains all life. Flowers bloom quietly, yet they spread beauty and fragrance everywhere. Rivers don't demand attention, yet they shape landscapes. Nature's way is calm and consistent, not desperate for validation, not seeking attention, just being. And that's what we must learn. You don't need to scream to be significant. Quiet effort, steady progress, and humble action speak more powerfully than words ever could. Think about the people who have inspired you the most. Often, they weren't the ones shouting about their success. They were the ones who stayed grounded, kind, and focused. A teacher who changes lives doesn't need fame. Their impact lives in the hearts of students. A parent who silently sacrifices for their family doesn't need recognition. Their love shines through the lives they build. A worker who gives their best every day, even when no one notices, carries more strength than someone who works only for praise. Silent strength is about doing what's right even when no one is watching. In today's world, where noise is mistaken for importance, staying silent yet strong takes courage. People feel pressured to post every achievement, to speak louder than others just to be seen. But look closely. The ones truly changing the world often work quietly behind the scenes. They don't seek attention, they seek improvement. They're not busy proving, they're busy progressing. And that's why their success lasts. Noise fades, but substance stays. Even in your personal life, there will be moments when silence will protect your peace. When others argue, criticize, or provoke, responding loudly might make you feel momentarily powerful, but it drains your energy. Remaining calm, like the ocean, keeps your dignity intact. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response. Let your peace disturb those who wanted your reaction, because silence is not the absence of strength, it's the proof of control. Anyone can shout in anger. It takes real power to stay quiet in wisdom. Silent strength also means trusting the process. Flowers don't bloom by shouting at the rain. They simply absorb what comes and keep growing. You don't need to announce every step or justify every delay. Your journey is unique. Let it unfold naturally. Trust that the same universe that teaches the sun to rise and the moon to glow is also guiding you quietly, perfectly, patiently. So let nature be your teacher. Rise like the sun, consistently without seeking applause. Flow like the ocean, deep, calm, and powerful. Shine like the moon, even in darkness, knowing your light will return. And grow like the tree, patiently from the roots up. True strength doesn't need to shout. It exists in the quiet confidence that you are becoming who you were meant to be, one silent step at a time. The world may not always see your effort, but one day, just like the sunrise, your light will be impossible to ignore.